Welcome to Go, my favorite sports team. Now you're my favorite co-host, and I want you to tell me how you really feel for all the listeners out there.
I feel great.
Yeah.
I'm feeling fantastic. I feel the safest I've ever felt.
Bet you do.
Thanks to all the firefighters and all the hard work that they've done, and my co-host making sure I stayed safe by keeping me out of town.
Go on.
Sports are going great. The playoffs are happening, and Mark is the best host you ever could see. He's the best podcaster, the world's most handsome man.
I like this.
Best voice you've ever done, seen, and heard.
Silence. Now, all you watchers out there, you're going to tell the listeners what you feel about me. Go on. Write in the subreddit how great I am, and then put it in text-to-speech so that the listeners can hear it. You know they can't read.
Discord could help.
Discord can't help anybody. Welcome to Go, my favorite sports team, where we get to the point where we cut through where we slice up the competition.
Where we cut through the drama and get to the meat of the matter.
So this is my pocket knife that I got from a store from a guy who knew nothing about knives. I know nothing about knives. I know marginally more about knives. And I thought for the longest time that it was 5570 steel. That's not a steel. I thought the 8CR13 MOV is the steel. Is that a good steel?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyway, not important. I don't have a knife. To the listeners out there.
It sounds like you were really well prepared for the happenings with that knife in hand. You were ready. You were ready.
Let me go get my chainsaw.
No, but weird things happening.
What's up?
Your mic is like cutting in and out of, even though you're still within the area, it's getting quieter at random moments.
Huh? I mean, I am leaning away and the gain probably is low, and I should probably be better about that. Is that better?
That's better, yeah.
Okay.
But apparently our editor also told me that even when I stayed within the range, I weirdly got quieter at times. So I don't know if there's a weird noise gate setting.
There might be a gate or compressor active. Let me, technical difficulties. I need to whip out my knife and threaten this mixer.
He's stabbing it, guys. He's giving him the have to.
Is this any better? Any better?
I don't know.
Yeah, the noise gate would have definitely taken away things that it thought were too quiet. So that probably was
might have been why.
Yeah.
So hopefully that fixes it, Sam.
Anyway, hold on. I got to redo my knife bit.
No, they can just.
I'm going to kill you for one of them foam fingers.
Oh, yeah. The $5 on store.gmfst.com. You know what's really interesting about that? There was a Reddit post of somebody's like, all I see are these copycat merch companies. Every time I search for the Go merch, I don't know which one's the real merch thing. And I'm like, I feel like we say it every episode.
We do say it a lot.
Store.gmfst.com. If you don't know how to spell store, it's STORE.
See, here's the thing. The listeners can't read and the watchers can't listen. So we need to put up a sign for it for the watchers, and then we need to, I don't know, scream it for the listeners. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. F.
Look at my M.
What is that? What is that? What kind of freakish M are you writing there?
Here you go. Show them that.
All right. Look at this. See that? Store.gmfst.com. SCORE.gmfst.com. Or else I shouldn't have been given a knife. I wasn't given a knife. I was given a knife after I gave money, which is how beautiful, delicious capitalism works.
Anyway, should we see what the Redditors have for us? Because it's been a while since we've addressed them, and they've been pretty mad.
I forgot where the Jacuse flare was.
It's probably a button somewhere.
All right, got it.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some Jacuses.
Here, you do Jacuses. I got some Japrecias I can read out, too.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Neither Rub4996 says, Headbutt goal Jacuse. In the most recent episode of GMFSC, Tyler showed a clip of Andrew Shaw scoring a goal by headbutting the puck into the net, and he claimed that the goal counted because he did not hit it with his stick, but that's not Right, the goal did not count because the rules state that a player cannot intentionally direct a puck into the net with any part of their body. It can accidentally hit off any part of their body and count, but anything intentional except for the stick is no good. Also, that goal is from 2015 and not 2024, but if we're going to include goals that didn't count from before 2024, you need to watch this clip, which is far superior goal, also satisfies Mark's craving for nut shots he requested.
You were requesting nut shots in that video. You were requesting a lot of nut shots.
I'm fairly sure.
Also, I live by the rule of cool, and hockey should live by the rule of cool. Therefore, if it's cool, it should count.
Does any other sport follow the rule of cool?
Mine.
Mining. Competitive mining.
The sport of life.
The sex Olympics.
That'd probably follow the rule of cool. D&D follows the rule of cool if you got the right GM.
Yeah, but if you don't, let me tell you.
I'm so afraid you're going to accidentally shut that on your finger.
I'm not going to shut it on my finger. Just because I have a bunch of cuts and scrapes on my hands doesn't mean that I'm going to shut it on my finger. This is from the trees.
When you were chainsawing.
When I was chainsawing trees, yeah.
Were you chainsawing trees to protect your home?
No, I was just going up and down the street.
Oh, so you're just helping clear...
Mm-hmm.
That's nice of you.
There's still streets with trees down that have not been cleared yet because there's just so much going on. Altadena, they're starting to open it up now, but even there, it's just devastation. Barren lots with rocks and rubbles and burnt trees and everything down. It's crazy out there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cleanup left to do.
Yeah.
And there's a new fire that just propped up today.
I saw that.
100 miles up north, growing big and fast.
I know, and I saw it from the highway when I was driving today, the big giant plume of smoke. But we're going to get into that when we talk about today's episode, because today's episode's about firefighting.
All right, but we got more excuses.
Yeah.
Homie Cheese 99 said, Mr. Scheid, Mr. Markipliers, I am but a simple welder who enjoys to listen while I work. And as a listener, I am offended by your disregard for me and my fellow listeners. I wait week after week for a new episode to come out on every Friday, only to be mocked this week by being given an episode that can only be enjoyed by a watcher. I understand having visual bits and the occasional video. I was smacked in the face with an entire episode of you deviants reacting to a slew of videos as if you are Sniper Wolf. I expected better of you. I am not mad, just disappointed. Well, we know how to handle you listeners.
They have no idea what that is. They're only listening, Mark. You got to make those sounds.
Editor, I hope you're putting knife sounds in here.
Sam, keep it quiet. Keep it quiet.
No, he's gonna put fucking orgasm sounds.
No, but I understand that bearing and that issue, but also at the same time, we have to reward our loyal viewers sometimes for going over to Spotify and watching the videos. And I still feel like there was content there for you to enjoy listening. While you didn't get the videos, we still had some good, healthy discussions about the videos.
Sure we did.
It was so very much viewer necessary.
Wink. Robert the Jimbo.
Hold on. I didn't even get to finish addressing the first accused, so I got to go back to that one.
I forgot.
Do you even remember who they were?
I don't remember.
All right. Well, you know what? Rule of cool should be applied in hockey. And frankly, if you got the skill to hit it off your head, you should be able to score a goal that way. I understand not being able to use the skate, but whatever. Also, on top of that, not my fault. That's the researchers' fault for grabbing videos that were not from 2024. We'll get that fixed. I already let them know. And we're going to try and start now and focus on the stuff that's occurred in the 2025 season. So we're prepared for the next one.
What he said.
Yeah. And Mark did not at all bring out anything, but I'm before we get to the next accuse, I got to preach. This is from Confetti Noodles Uwu or Awu or OWO. Japreach. I never had a problem with sports per se. I just always found them repetitive and boring. Balls, holes, sometimes sticks. It was just kind of meh, I guess. But I've learned about cheese rolling, competitive puzzling, and so many other things that genuinely just blew my mind. And the stuff I thought I'd be bored by was fun. It made me genuinely interested in sports, and I find myself in conversations about sports now. Thanks, Mark and Tyler, and all the elegant listeners and watchers alike for changing my view on sports.
And elegant they are. In 2025, you get 25 elegance points. Hope you know. That's going to last you the next 4 years.
And, maybe when we sell out of merch and we have new stuff, you can use those Alligator points to redeem something.
Mm-hmm. And then when we sell out, we're going to skip town and take all the money.
Yeah, because it's like crypto.
Yeah, I got a new coin.
We're the new hawk to us.
Oh, well, she's probably in trouble.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah. But other people that do crypto schemes, not a thing can be done about it.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's what they call an official action.
Or an executive order.
I'm going to executively order some coins.
Oh my God. They might executively order a canceling of this podcast.
I'll stop them.
All right, go on with your next accuse.
Anyway, accuse. Tyler says Malice Mandible. You absolute menace of a man. You hulking pillar of meat, you. They don't say that. As I drive my children to daycare this morning and do my normal routine, I put on my favorite podcast just to be lied to. During this week's episode, Try Not to Laugh, you said the Steelers haven't lost to a bad team yet. This is a lie. The biggest lie I've heard all year, by far. I'll have you know my favorite sports team, the Dallas Cowboys, beat the Steelers this year, and we're absolute dog shit. The Cowboys suck ass and toes this year. The players look like they drink hot dog water before and during the game. Mike McCarthy stands on the sidelines acting like he's never seen a football game before, let alone coach one. Our receivers couldn't catch the cold, let alone a football. Our defense couldn't defend against a horde of gerbils, yet we still beat the Steelers at their home. I hope you correct yourself and make right out of what you've made wrong, or I'll haunt you forever, whispering, "How about them Cowboys?" until the day you die.
I really appreciate an honest Cowboys fan, because usually they're all like, yeah, we're going to kick your ass. We're America's team. Woo! So I'm glad you got to absorb and appreciate the fact of how awful the Cowboys are. But what I meant to say in that, and it was a flub on my part, is the Steelers had not beaten a good team yet. And instead, I said they have not lost to a bad team, because my brain does the twisty wonky doodads every once in a while when I'm trying to say things. What I meant to say is that, and also the Steelers lost pretty handedly in the playoffs, so I'm pretty happy about that. And the Bills and the Chiefs are about to face off against each other for the AFC Championship game. And surprisingly, Washington is going against, I believe, the Eagles, same division for the NFC Championship. Those are your teams that could potentially be in the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for a Bills-Washington game.
Are you talking about the Washington Redskins?
No, Washington Commanders.
Whoa!
Formerly the Washington football team and formerly the Washington Reds.
The only way you're allowed to say it now.
Yes.
That's good to know. That's good to know. What were they again? Commanders?
Commanders are facing against the Eagles, Philadelphia, which we already know Philadelphia fans are just asinine. I don't know if you saw the TikToks, but people are getting banned finally for being absolute dickbags.
TikTok got banned.
But it's back again.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
That's also true.
But
There's a big question. Is it? Didn't it say like Mr. Beast is now the CEO on there?
Not officially.
Oh, well, I hope not.
I left TikTok because it just became nothing but ads for the TikTok shop.
And so many of those are just scams.
Yeah, everything is just
They don't
drop
police
shipping
it.
from crap sites. It's just garbage stuff that everyone lies to. There are laws about false advertising, but apparently not when it comes to this
TikTok
TikTok shop.
Or Temu, whatever that
Temu.
freaking thing is. Or Honey.
Or Honey. God, I knew it.
You knew it?
I knew it.
You knew
Anyway,
it?
That's old news by now.
That's very old news.
Anywho,
it's time to get to the happier matter.
yes. What is that?
To the fires.
Happy. Wait a minute.
So this episode is about firefighting.
Okay.
And the athleticism of firefighters. Because the biggest thing is, and a lot of people don't know this, is how much firefighters have to endure physically and amongst insanely strenuous, deadly conditions. And so here in LA, a lot of stuff has happened. I've been gone most of it, but smoke was toxic and in the air all over the place.
Yeah,
We've had the worst fires in the history of Los Angeles.
For sure.
And so I wasn't here. So to start this off, I actually wanted to ask about your experience being here throughout the entire time.
Sure. You know how you've seen Zoolander, right?
Yes.
You know David Bowie was in Zoolander, right?
Yes.
You know that scene when Zoolander's trying to rip out his underwear and he fails? David Bowie goes, disqualified! Firefighting isn't a sport! Get out of here! Get out of here, firefighters! I know your rules, Tyler. I know he was tricking me with this one. He thought that I wouldn't get the trick. I follow your logic. Not a sport, firefighter. Get out of here. You're not welcome here. Right, Tyler?
No.
What?
There are competitive firefighting competitions.
Oh, no.
Much like we've had competitive other competitions that are like jobs.
Do you think anyone knew where I was going with the Zoolander bit?
No idea. They had no idea. I knew.
You knew?
I
You knew?
did.
Okay,
I remember that scene. So.
Right. Maybe someone out there understood where I was going with
I know a couple people that do because they have a giant poster of Zoolander at their house.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's the porn guy, Bird650.
Porn?
He's mentioned on Distractable by Wade all the time. Bird650.
That's just what.
Guy.
Yeah, that's what Wade called him. He's trying to make it a thing. It's not going to be a thing. Stop making it a thing.
Sorry. I thought you guys were trying to make it a thing. I didn't know
he's
it was a
trying to
Wade
make it a thing.
Okay.
I don't know why. No one agrees with him. He's like, the porn guy, and we're like, we don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, it's Bird650, the Zoolander guy. Is that better?
The exclusively Zoolander porn parody guy.
Yeah, there you go.
100% true. You heard it here first.
Somebody's going to confuse that and think we're talking about Zootopia and think he's a big furry now.
Maybe the rumors might be true.
You're making me.
I'm sorry. Is this? I can stop this if you're actually bothered by it. We are actually very distant from each other, so this is nowhere near him. But I will stop if you feel uncomfortable.
No, I just felt like I'd match your energy.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fire.
Yes. So I do want to hear about your experience in LA.
So honestly, it's probably best that you weren't here because it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience. There are probably some people that are like, wow, that's something interesting that happened. You probably weren't next to it or in it. It was not.
The air was in, even where the studio is, it was in like the 200s at one point. And out of pure happenstance, I was out of state. So, but yeah, you were here with everything going on.
Yeah, and to be frank, it is still bad.
Yes, it is still horrendous.
Still particulates in the air, even though the parts per million is low in terms of particulates by those measurements. Those measurements do not count what particles are in the air. There are certain materials, like building materials that got incinerated, that are in the air. There's certain chemicals in the air from like the random forest fighting materials, equipment, stuff out in the woods, ash in general, just bad. You should wear a mask when you're outside just because there are particles that you do not want in your body, including lead is in the air in some spaces. So be aware of that. And even if your air quality index says it's not bad, you should take precaution. The winds are still strong. It is still blowing debris and ash into the air.
And more fires are cropping up here and there.
Exactly. Even today, there's new smoke plumes coming in.
Correct.
I carry a mask in my bag. This is not even remotely a COVID thing. It literally is about the particles in the air. It's for your own good. But anyway, so the fires were kind of that thing where it seemed distant until it wasn't. Because even when I was out that morning, it was super windy, and we had battened down the hatches. We put all the furniture inside that was outside.
Yeah, I came back, and my stuff got strewn all over the place. Stuff was broken.
Yeah, so
my roof was torn up, too. So.
The winds were nuts, and that was originally that was just going to be it, and I was like, oh, man, windy, and I was like, ooh, it's kind of fun, because, outside the wind, and I know on the news it was like, oh, it's going to be really bad, red flag warning. I never even thought that fires were really a possibility, because I wasn't even thinking about that. When I drove out, when there was a lull in the wind, I went to get some supplies, and I saw the Palisades fire smoke in the distance. I didn't even know there was a fire at that point. It was like noon, and it had been burning for hours, and I didn't know about it because I don't pay attention in the news. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get any updates about it. I asked Amy, and she's like, yeah, that's the Palisades fire. And I'm like, oh, man, I had no idea. So I get home right as the wind kicks back up, and so we're hanging out, and Catherine is over, just so happens to be over for the holidays. And then we start looking at the news, and then we can't look away from the news because we start getting this app called Watch Duty. Very good app. Incredible. Have you gotten it yet?
No.
I recommend it. It is wonderful. I actually paid for the pro plan so I can see the paths of the aircraft going by. You want to see?
Yeah.
Because they're fighting that fire up, the Hughes fire right now. And not only can you see all of the helicopters where they are live, and you can even see their paths that they've been taking. So you can see like the little green lines. It's all these paths. They've been, like I say, refill, drop.
Yeah.
And it shows you an estimation of the area of the fire, which right now is at 9,457 acres.
And that just started today, by the way.
Today. And it's just nuts. It's crazy to think about. There was another fire that might be sparking 10 minutes ago. Yeah, 10 minutes ago, there's another little fire that cropped off the side here, which is probably from ashes.
An ember and something, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that can happen. And that's how those fires spread. Fires spread very easily, especially in wind, and they're fueled by wind. So later that night, we've been watching the news. We get a notice that there's a fire near us, the Eaton fire. We get it on the apps. We see it on the news. We don't know what that means until we look out the window.
Yeah.
And we could see it. That changed all perspective. And I know that some cases, you really don't know what something really is until it affects you personally. People try to have empathy, but in reality, it's very hard to contextualize what's happening. When you can see the fire, it makes everything like, oh, shit.
It's a reality check.
That could come here because the wind was blowing in the direction where it could have blown embers right towards us, just like this fire is spreading right now. So immediately we have to think about, okay, what are we going to take if our house burns down?
What's the most important to grab?
Exactly.
What can't be replaced?
Yeah, what would you grab?
I mean, the biggest thing that's recommended is your documents. So for taxes and your social security card, all that stuff. And then photos, quickly grabbing a hard drive or something like that, throwing that in there. Basically anything that's irreplaceable.
Packing a go bag ahead of time is so essential. And I actually have to reorder because I reordered stuff for go bags during our evacuation and all the shipping was messed up. So none of the orders came. So I have to reorder that now.
You want to know the first thing I thought of?
What?
We had talked months and months ago about storing lenses at my place. And realizing in that moment, I was like, oh, shit, those things are irreplaceable.
I wouldn't want you to grab those as opposed to your valuables.
Correct,
but I appreciate you thinking that.
But it was the fact that I was like, we never got that to my place, which was a little bit further away.
I did end up grabbing some of the converted lenses on the way out. So I'm not going to lie. I did think about that. But one of the more important things to do that I did as well, if you were ever in a situation where you have a little time, like you have the warning, if you have the order to go, get out of there.
Yeah.
You don't know what the roads are going to be like, and you don't know where the wind's going to blow. But if you're in the warning zone where you're yellow, you can preemptively evacuate, and that's totally fine if you have a place to go. If you have some time and you're in the warning, take a video of everything in your house.
Yes, it's so important for insurance.
Take a video of every possession, explain what it is, get close-ups of everything, make it irrefutable for anyone to deny what that is. I went over to my server equipment.
Yeah.
And I filmed every inch of that. I said, this is 8 this is a I got for cheaper than that, but I won't say how much in case insurance is listening to this. And my house burns down again.
Again?
House is at risk of burning down again.
Okay.
Yeah, just believe it. Anyway, take a video of everything, and I took everything in that because I spent 6 months building that render farm. I can't even calculate the labor cost of that.
Yeah.
But the material cost alone was exorbitantly expensive. And to have it all be built and ready, and I was like, this is going to last me 5 years.
And then literally,
yeah, it just this past week has been tested fully. It works beautifully. It has simulated some stuff.
That's fantastic.
It is working. I can't believe it. That room is so hot.
But yeah, I mean, when I hadn't heard anything because I was gone, and then I started seeing it on socials, and that's when I started reaching out to you, to Ethan, to a bunch of friends. One of my friends, unfortunately, their house burned down.
Oh my God. Altadena or Palisades?
Yeah, Altadena.
Altadena.
And their cat was missing. Found this week. Yes. Willow was found this week. Saving grace, because my God, I mean, I've got pictures. I'll show you the pictures of what's left. And what I mean is Nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
Swipe.
Oh.
There's 7.
The fireplace. That's the common theme. It's crazy that those trees are still there. I know they're probably just turned to charcoal.
The crazier thing is because their neighbor's house is ignited from the flying embers because of how hard those winds were blowing. And it then ended up catching their place.
Uh-huh.
And so they actually had a friend staying with them in an add-on unit. And because they were staying there as a friend, they weren't renting and didn't have renter's insurance, and they lost everything.
Oh my God. I didn't even think of that.
I've got some stuff I'm going to try and do for them, but Yeah.
There's still tons to do. And when we were evacuated and we grabbed what we could, we were just sitting there looking at the news. And it's that weird thing where it's like, okay, what do we do? There's nothing to do when you are in the middle of it. It's just sit and wait. And that sucks. That really sucks.
I feel so helpless.
Yeah. I ended up, the weirdest thing, the only thing I thought I could do was like, well, I guess I'm going to go trade my car in finally. Did I tell you what I got?
No, you didn't.
I got a fucking truck.
No.
Getting to my Ohio roots there. I got F-150 Lightning. Feel the lightning.
Because we had talked about you getting the Mustang. Yeah.
And I thought about that because it was like electric vehicle to electric vehicle. I like EV, you know.
Yeah.
I'm saving the environment. It's not up to the individuals, the fucking companies.
Get better at recycling batteries, people, please.
Yeah, that'll fix it. Anyway, so I got a truck because I realized when we were leaving my Tesla, I hate it. And now more than ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
God.
Jeez.
I did that before.
Yes.
I did that before inauguration.
We talked about like 3 years ago about how much you hated that.
I was like, I hated the Tesla. And now I'm so glad.
Yes.
I'm so glad I don't have to wait in line to everyone turning in their Tesla for something else. Because holy shit. Anyway. Whole other conversation to have about that. Elon Musk is what I'm talking about. In case it wasn't obvious. Anyway.
Dumbass.
God, it's more than a dumbass.
No, that's I could say a lot of things.
Man, but the Neuralink chips in our brains will explode if we say something too bad about it.
Do we have them?
Oh, you don't know.
Oh shit. Ah!
Anyway, I got a pickup truck because I realized I couldn't actually grab anything. So if I were to load up my Tesla with all of my valuables, I wouldn't be able to fit anything in there. I didn't even have fold-down seats in the middle row.
Yeah.
I couldn't fit anything in there.
And the doors are stupid.
Yeah. They're even stupider now. But anyway, I traded it in and I really talked up the value of it versus what it actually is worth. So I got a pickup truck. And I've never been a truck guy, but I realized the practicality of it because it has a front trunk and a whole bed because it's a truck and it's gigantic. But if you need to grab stuff and haul it around, strap it down. Like you can't do that with pretty much any vehicle. And I couldn't take my power tools, which I wanted to do. I wanted to take a chainsaw. I knew immediately I wanted to take a chainsaw and go clear roads because I was like, that's something I can do. And with the EV truck, it's like, oh, it's got plugs in.
Well, and it also has, most trucks are designed for hauling. So they have a little bit more torque power to be able to drag stuff or pull stuff.
Yeah. And it's not as much as like a regular F-150, but it's still a lot more than my Tesla could have done or any other car could do. And so I knew, and also like, it's not just about like that. It's also good for filming. If I go out with film equipment into the middle of nowhere, I can power it all with my truck.
Yeah.
It can do 9 kilowatts out. It's pretty good. But also Chevy. Hey, listen, Chevy.
You trying to transfer over to Chevy?
Listen, there might look. There's talks of maybe a deal or something happening. Maybe.
Ooh, hey Chevy.
I'll switch flips any day.
I also need a car.
I'm loyal. You could buy one.
Yeah, I could use a car. But
I bought a car. You could buy a car. Shush. I'm trying to trade, not get a freebie here. Shush. Let me talk to Chevy. Chevy, baby. Anyway, fire. I could also film with it. So it's useful. And I didn't realize how useful it was. And you don't realize how useful something is until you have a need for it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I realized, oh my God, I have a need for this. So now I'm a truck guy.
Did you see like active firefighting other than through the app? Like, did you run into firefighters, see the lights?
No, I didn't see any up close. I mean, there were tons of fire trucks all around us. Like we saw, especially when we were trying to like get a gauge on the situation, we saw fire trucks going by at all times. Roads being closed, being opened, roads that were closed suddenly abandoned out of nowhere. People ripped the tape down. It looked like the apocalypse. It was crazy. And it was a surreal thing where I look down one side of the sky and it's clear. Beautiful blue sky. You turn your head 180, the fucking end of the world. The sun was like bright orange through the smoke, just like the most vibrant, like blood orange kind of color.
The apocalypse horror, like almost like a blood sun.
Enormous plumes of smoke going by. It was just midday. And so you wouldn't think you would see the fire, but you can see the flames just fine. They're that hot. Like in the middle of the day, the winds are kicking up and it's just like, there I am in a mask. And I'm just like, holy shit, this is really happening. And there's not a thing I can do. There's not a thing I could do as a person there. Yeah, I wanted to cut down trees. That's not firefighting. I'm not fighting that fire. There's nothing I could do to fight that fire.
Yeah. There was very limited stuff they could do because the winds were so bad they could have no air support. All they could do was ground, and things were moving way too fast for even ground to be there, because then their lives would be lost.
Because what would they do?
Yeah, which is why everyone online that was like, why isn't this blah, blah, blah? I'm sitting here like, dude, you're looking at over 100-mile-per-hour winds.
Yeah.
Embers are shooting. I mean, we're talking nowhere near the fire, all the way out to hit Altadena. They weren't even in a yellow zone, my friend's place, when their neighbor's house caught on fire.
Yeah.
You're talking about they're launching these embers massive distances. There's nothing firefighters can do, especially when they can't drop water or fire retardant or even be able to build fire lines big enough and try and burn back big enough to stop that.
And the thing is, you can't build fire lines in a residential neighborhood.
No.
It's asphalt and houses. There's no place to draw a line. Even if there's a park, it's not going to draw a line. You can only hope that the streets are wide enough to be the fire line, but it's still, the embers go.
Yeah. And people were yelling about like fire hydrants not having enough pressure and stuff like that. Well, they had to direct flow and figure out where was actually compatible and stuff like that.
It's a
there
fascinating
are other issues
thing.
too, because it's older stuff.
It's a physics thing.
Yeah.
There isn't enough water, not in terms of like, oh, they mismanaged water. It's like, no, they had reservoirs. They didn't plan for that. They did not plan for an instantaneous fire that was suddenly going to engulf a 5,000-acre area in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
And in a matter of seconds.
In a matter of seconds, these things move. Fires move fast. You see them on the mountainside, they don't seem like they're moving. That's moving like 30 miles an hour sometimes. Just maybe not that fast all the time, but like sometimes it does get
with the winds that
fast.
they were this 100%.
It's mind-boggling for people to be like, just suck it up from the ocean. With what?
Well, and also on top of that, yeah, because only planes could really do that. But even on top of that, they don't realize the damage that salt water does to soil. Like, you sterilize the soil, so nothing will grow there for years and years.
And they'll do it anyway. And they did it anyway.
Yeah,
but it's
because
like,
they had to.
But it's like, what kind of Omega pumps do you think are sitting on the beach that they can just fire it up, Billy? All right, we'll douse that mountain. It's a mountain. The reservoir they have, which is tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of gallons, it's a lake's amount of water. It sits on the mountain. It's this big.
Mm-hmm.
It's enormous, but it looks that big because it's the whole mountain is on fire. There wasn't enough pressure in the world that could have been directed in that moment to there.
Nor the amount of time to try and surround it in seconds. Because there's no roads there.
Yeah.
There's dirt paths maybe, but you can't bring an RV or even an ATV through that because the woods are too thick. There's a million different things.
And people are like, using swimming pools. And it's again, what pumps do you have in your pool that can suddenly redirect it into the air? Because I sure don't.
They're thinking they can suck it and siphon it and drizzle out.
Yeah,
like,
the amount of energy you need to pump water, even up a little bit of distance.
Also, not even that. Where are you getting the energy from? Because the electrical lines are down.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so many of these things that people don't think about. And it's like when you're there, and sure, mistakes were probably made here, there, everywhere, because it's human. But at the same time, the effort is not being done.
Well, I mean, obviously the funding thing that happened was an error, but
there are definitely things that could be pointed to mismanagement that definitely should be addressed.
But it wouldn't have solved the perfect storm that this had.
Exactly. Even like, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't have been done. Like, definitely there should have been more emphasis on it, but there's no amount in terms of a standard deviation of planning that you could account for, even in the wildest of like precautionary tales, that would have prevented this. There's nothing in terms of human preparation or prediction that could have been done to the magnitude of the fire that occurred, because it is historically large. Even in the most modern time, which is the present that we're in, where we have the most technology and the most forethought into planning, no one ever thought it would be this bad.
And it's still ongoing.
It's still happening. There's literally today from 0 to 10,000 acres in the past 8 hours.
I do have one last question for you about this before we jump into the athleticism of firefighters. And my curiosity is, how do you feel currently now that you are no longer in an evacuation zone? Do you have some semblance of survivor's guilt? Do you have anything along those lines? How has your perspective maybe changed as well?
I think that what I feel a lot more is a sense of purpose to my community and a sense of duty that I must fulfill it's not so much survivor's guilt as like, I am in a position where I can lend aid to those of my neighbors who have been affected negatively by the fire. Who they may have lost everything, they may have lost something, they may be able to get it back. But there's tons of people that live in LA. And the thing about people in LA that anyone around the country don't seem to understand is a lot of people in LA really, really love this city and the county. When I say LA, it's like a large area. The county is larger than the city itself, but LA encompasses a very large place. And so LA lives very strongly in people's hearts, no matter what people may try to politicize everything that goes on here. Every single thing gets politicized, and it's not about that. It's about being human, actually being there for the people around you and recognizing that there are people that are suffering and not numbers, not statistics of how many houses burned and like, oh, you could have done this.
Or the price of the houses.
Price of the houses, any of that. It's like, that doesn't matter when there are people that need to be taken care of. And it's like, you can, and I can't do everything, just like I can't put out the entire mountain of a fire. Even an army of firefighters couldn't do that when the times weren't against them. But when things calm down, for me, I feel like that's when I really should make sure that things are paid attention to and that people actually take care of each other, because it's so easy to forget and move on. But for the people that have lost everything, this is going to be their life for years. This is going to be their everything. Every day they're going to wake up wondering, how the hell can I rebuild? And it's like, when you got people like that right next to you, like, how can you not do something? And you don't have to do everything. You don't have to build their house for them. Donate a brick. Donate one board of wood. Donate a nail. Swing a hammer once. Like, that's better than nothing. And that's if your entire community rallies around to do that, then people can rebuild and they can have some hope.
It goes back to stuff we used to do in our old charity streams. Is like the littlest amount still makes a massive difference.
Yeah. And I think what people really lack when it comes to things like this, some of the reason people can feel lost is because there doesn't seem to be purpose. You know, when things are being forgotten and people are being left to the sides, they feel aimless and they don't feel the purpose. And I think that's when it's so important, that duty, the honor of being there for other people. Like, it's so important to remember that when you are in a position to do something, you have to be human. You have to be in this community or in any community, or to be a part of something bigger than yourself. We all can be very selfish and we all can think of ourselves, and that's fine. We are ourselves and we're here for our families and our own well-being. But we got to remember, we're here because we're building on the backs of what everyone is contributing to. To live in the times that we do is to recognize that we are not here alone by our own efforts. Our parents raised us from birth, whether they were good parents or bad parents, the circumstances that brought us to where we are. We didn't get here alone. For negative or positive effects that happen to that, we are not here alone, and we're not ever going to be alone. Even if we're down to the last few people on earth, then it's more important than ever to be there for the people around you, and it's easier to contextualize it. But now, like, it is so important, especially in the age of the internet, when everyone is just like shouting online that there are people here, and every day someone's going through something. So you can always help.
There's always so much to do. And on top of that, to add to it, there are 3 particular charities that I want to talk about, but ways you can help if you're in the LA area and you're unaffected by the fires and want to help those who were. There's places you can donate food, diapers, pet supplies. Places need tampons. People need various different gear. Still people need clothing. They need places to stay. If you have stuff where you can donate that time, food banks, animal shelters, all of that need supplies. And more than anything, they need funding. If you're not in LA, there are a few organizations that can help people and pets donate impacted by the LA fires that I think are good. I've looked them up and are reputable. Is the California Fire Foundation. This is one that can help firefighters, can help the people that work and fight the fires themselves. And it's hcafirefoundation.org. And then you have Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, which is lafoodbank.org. And then the Los Angeles County Animal Care Foundation, which is lacountyanimals.org. Those are all the 3 that I went through and found that we felt were reputable and could be able to help in particular ways. There are also others, but the biggest thing when you're dealing with natural disasters and stuff like this happens is you need to be hyper aware of people taking advantage of that and setting up fraudulent accounts, much like we were joking about the stupid crypto rug pull stuff that happens. People do that for charity during natural disasters massively.
All the time.
And in horrible ways. So make sure you are triple checking before you send funds anywhere or to anybody. making sure that it is actually a reputable source that's existed for a longer period of time than is current, and that it is something that you can actually follow through and triple check.
So many more people deserve to be punched in the solar plexus as hard as you can. I won't say the face because that might break your hand.
Yeah.
Actually, don't aim for the face. It probably will result in your hand getting hurt. But aim for the solar plexus. It's a small, soft, weak spot that'll knock the wind right out of them, make them crumple to a heap.
The other thing I was actually looking at, they're constantly looking for causes of fires and various stuff like that. But the interesting thing that people don't know about fires, which is something I actually do know, and this is another reason why fireworks are a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're in a dry climate and stuff like this exists, a lot of times you get this really hard packed soil, right? And so if it's on a slope and a fire burns in a bush, it can smolder underground in the roots of a dry bush for weeks and weeks and weeks. And no matter what got reported, if it was a small brush fire or something like that, and they poured water on it, if it's on a slant, it won't penetrate down there and actually put it out.
Because it's dry and compacted.
Exactly. And it'll also flow off of it. So it won't seep down into that area. And when winds can pick up or other things can pick up, that can suddenly arise and come out. And so one of the things firefighters do that a lot of people don't realize is they dig up where these trees are and try and make sure that those roots, those things are all put out to prevent future fires, because it is a massive, massive problem of fires, not just putting them out, but rekindling themselves and becoming a problem again. And so that's an insane amount of stuff. I mean, just in wildfire training, like they're camping out, they're hiking with 50+ pound bags, carrying their food, carrying their water, carrying all of their gear. I mean, firefighters everywhere, especially dealing with wildland firefighters, they can be work 14 days straight out in the wilderness, 16+ hour work times, more even when there's a massive roaring fire like was going on here. Pilots the same way. People were not sleeping. I mean, they were having energy bars, doing Red Bull and stuff, but they're also doing the most dangerous things you can do in the most dangerous conditions to fight those fires. You want to talk about like the balls on these pilots. I mean, they're getting low to the ground with unpredictable thermals from the fires, and also curving and getting low enough to drop the water, and their weight change when they're dropping the water or the fire retardant and then scooping up. Like, it's insane.
Insane. The concentration is more than like a Formula One driver.
Yeah.
So I would think. Like the amount of pressure that's on you, because Formula One, like you're going very fast, you're making very tight turns, but it's like a predictable course. This is every angle of approach is different. Every line of the fire is different. Every mountainside you're climbing up and down is different. Your payload's slightly different each time. Like it's
sloshing around on top of that.
Around, moving around. The
visibility is in almost none.
Did you see that video of the cockpit where they're going in and to fight a fire, and suddenly I can't see shit, and they're like, I think it's here,
and the fire's messed up instruments.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is literally like you talking about people are like, oh my God, they dropped in the wrong spot, the errors and stuff that occur. Yeah. You have no idea how hard that is. Or on top of that, how long they've been awake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Flying over and over and over to fight fires to save people's homes.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the amount of work that firefighters put in and day out, and it's very a thankless job, they do not get paid enough for what they do. And a good amount of firefighters in LA and wildfire firefighters are prisoners. There's been a lot of misinformation out about their firefighters and prisoners doing it. It is a volunteer job. It is something they're not forced to do. They are also allowed to stay outside of the prisons. Mm-hmm. They get better equipment, better food, and also they have a priority list of potentially having their criminal records expunged.
Yes. That is probably the biggest piece of misinformation. They're like, oh, but they can't get a job. It's like, actually, Gavin Newsom did bear that change like a few years ago. People can have criticisms about Gavin Newsom for sure, but it's like, this is one of the things where it's like, okay, you got to remember, everything is a context of like what is actually happening. Mm-hmm. And so you have to stay up to date to the information. And yes, there have been in the past, for sure, roadblocks to get those prisoners or ex-prisoners into jobs. And so there is work being done, and there has been work done to give them a path. And that is something to recognize, because jail should be a punishment, but it should be to put them back into society. And what's the term? I can't even remember the term.
Rehabilitate.
Rehabilitate. Yeah, it's rehabilitation is the intention
Yes.
of prison, not to make a repeat offender. And that program has the lowest repeat offender rate.
Yes. And on top of that, they're leaving prison with money. They're getting paid more than people realize. And that stuff just goes into a bank account, and they can set it to go into an account that gets compounding interest.
Yeah.
And so they come out of prison not only better equipped for the environment with funds, but also with the potential of getting expunged, having that actually on their job record too, that they put in that time and did this thing and have their sentence reduced quite often.
I can tell you, if I was hiring someone, if I was in that position, I would look at that and someone would like, wow, you have actual experience doing this. And you did this when, you weren't getting paid what everyone else was getting paid. Admittedly, like there's a math equation to see what's fair. And I don't know what the math equation is, but you have to factor in like, technically in jail, you are not paying for your own room and board
and food and
other stuff. But it's like also they're in jail. So it's like, how much does that really? There's a math equation that I'm not equipped to answer that I hope that will be addressed by someone smarter.
Well, and it's also like quantitative and qualitative, and there's too many factors.
Too many factors for me to parse through. But but that doesn't mean it shouldn't be parsed through. And that is also something that gets forgotten, I feel, by some people, is like, just because it's complicated doesn't mean that we shouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just go on. Anyway, but it's, to their credit, it's volunteer and they're doing an incredibly dangerous job.
And they get like a lot of benefits from it. They live outside of the prison. They have a really nice proper weight set. And I did a lot of research on this before I wanted to talk about it, because I found prisoners that were talking about the experience because they were trying to be like, yo, no, this is so much information. This is wrong. And multiple prisoners had posted about their experience actually going through that, former prisoners, of course, and how it has helped them to be rehabilitated and do what they can. And it becomes like a brotherhood in that sense. They actually develop a bond beyond that cross boundaries that they never thought they would cross as well.
Yeah.
So, and keep in mind, before people are all like, oh, I don't want murderers doing this, they're not the ones
they don't get offered those positions.
Yes. These are usually people that are doing like petty theft and things
like
that.
Medium security kind of, like prisons are under,
It's just something that's absolutely insane. And I wanted to highlight that. And actually, we're going to have to do another episode about the athleticism of firefighters, just because of how long we've been talking about this.
Well, let's keep going then, because there's still more to talk about.
There's so much more. So this might get split up into a second part, but do you want to do an outro or just continue and make it a part 2?
Well, let's do an outro. Let's talk a little more about it, because there's more before we get to the sports side of it, because there's still like so much more to talk about with this, because with this new fire, like it's north of Santa Clarita, and it's just something that like is cropping up, and it's something I want to touch on is weather's getting weird, huh?
Yeah.
What a coincidence. Snow in South Carolina, ice in New Orleans.
More hurricanes and bigger hurricanes than we've ever experienced in our lives.
So there's a lot of people that are doom and gloom about this. There was a TV show that even said this, like, what do you think of climate change? And the scientists like, I don't give a shit anymore. It's too late. Like, what the fuck does it matter what I say? Because I showed you the data 10 years ago and it's happening. So, like, again, not a scientist, but obviously the climate is changing.
And there are numerous scientists years and years and years and years and years ago that have pointed this out. I mean, there's documents of stuff that's over 100 years old.
It's not even a debate to have, because it's not worth having. So if anyone is even arguing with you out there about it, don't even have the argument, because right now we need to shift our thought process into, okay, how are we going to adapt to the changing circumstances? Because these things are going to keep happening. These historic weather events, these unprecedented circumstances that can create this horrible tragedy.
I also don't believe in the thing of like, well, we're already too far gone, because it's the thing about the human body. The same thing kind of happens with Earth. It has this ability to heal itself in some capacities. And we've seen it before when wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park, and it balanced things back out, right? This whole idea of the concept is hope is because we don't understand fully how everything interacts with everything. We feel like we've gone past the tipping point, and there's enough science that says we've gone past the tipping point, but there's always the possibility of things being different than what we can fully understand.
For sure. Yeah. Adaptation.
Yes.
How do we survive? Because as a YouTuber said in response to Ben Shapiro, I was like, just one question, Ben. Because he said, just sell the houses and move. Sell the houses to who? Fucking Aquaman!
The fish!
Yeah, it's going to be underwater. Anyway, so...
And I was in Hawaii, and the erosion is absolutely tearing away houses. I saw it firsthand, but...
So... what we have to realize is that the kind of topography of our life is going to change a bit. And what we need to do is be more proactive against things like this. It is not a time to lose hope. It is a time to work harder than ever. And that's what I hope people realize is like, and that's what I feel the purpose of. I don't feel hopeless at all. I'm pissed off, but I don't feel hopeless. I feel purposeful. Because now more than ever is the effort that needs to be put in, like the effort that we need to have in our community. Because again, you can be pissed off at politics and you can be pissed off at do-nothing politicians or pieces of shit that are up on inauguration stages doing unbelievable shit. But that still doesn't change the fact that you as an individual have the ability to do something proactive. And so we have to identify what that is. Instead of like looking for enemies everywhere, we kind of have to start looking at ourselves. How can we help each other and ourselves?
It's also, there was this mindset. I actually met this guy when I was out and about, and he's from Canada, and he lives in a particular part of Canada that's big on oil. And he was talking about like how the pipeline would have been great and all this stuff. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about things. And I'm sitting here and I go, okay, great for the short term. Great for your lifetime. Great for that. You have grandkids. Mm-hmm. You have stuff that's going on. There's so much to do that can be done. And the biggest excuse he said is like, I'm from Canada. We're only like 2% of the total carbon emissions in the world. If we reduce it by this amount, we're only going down to 1.9%. And I'm sitting here and he's like, it's not going to make a difference. I'm like, it doesn't matter how much you're doing at that moment or how much you reduce. The fact that you reduce is an impact, because if all of a sudden you reduce and somebody is like, oh, if I reduce, it's a chain effect. It's like, if I do my part and I'm just doing my part, that's a reduction. But if all of a sudden everybody else goes, wait, let me do my part. That's how it adds up. It's the same way of doing good. This is about reduction. This is about reducing our emissions, reducing our pollution overall, and reducing our effect negatively on animals, on the environment, on everything else. And if everyone did that without thinking about, oh, he's doing worse or he's doing that, oh, I'm only 1% and he's like 100%, make a fucking impact. And that's the part that pisses me off more than anything, is when anybody makes the argument of like, well, I'm less than him, he should do it. No. Yeah, he should do it. But that's not why you shouldn't. That's you being a fuck. I'm sorry, I'm mad.
It's also the company should also stop putting the blame on the individual. However, this is always my argument about it. For those that are like so in love with fossil fuels, batteries are better. Electric vehicles are better. Electric vehicles are fucking awesome. Anyone who says otherwise, because like, I love the roar of an engine, is like, dude, I can pump 9 kilowatts out of my truck wherever I am in the world. I could run a job site from my truck. If I had 2 people if I was at a construction crew and I had 2 people on my crew that had electric trucks, we wouldn't need portable generators at all, because we got our trucks. It's so fucking awesome. It's so good. It's awesome. You get electricity out of the sky from the wind that's blowing harder than ever now. You know, people were complaining like, oh, what happens when the wind don't blow? That don't seem to be a fucking problem right now. And the sun just, oh man, if the sun explodes and, we don't get any sun anymore, we'll have bigger problems.
And even on top of that, like nuclear is a lot more efficient, it's better than any fossil fuel or coal or other shit.
And rednecks love explosions. There ain't no explosion bigger than a nuclear one. It's better. It's just better. And yeah, you need to build a lot of batteries. Oh, guess what? America wants to be the industrial manufacturing capital of the world again. This could be our chance.
Also, on top of that, did you see the information that one of the companies found a different way to make a battery that doesn't require lithium, is actually more efficient?
I have seen many battery technologies coming out faster.
Because lithium is awful for the environment.
Oh, lithium's okay.
The mining of it.
The mining of anything is bad.
Correct. This is a synthesized battery. I believe they synthesized something that made this battery more efficient than lithium, and it's safer, it's cleaner. And in the synthesis, the byproduct is water.
Was it hydrogen cell?
That's what I initially thought, but somebody told me it was something different.
I would look into the actual science of that before.
This is all hearsay, but
yeah, I'm sure there are tons of technologies that are being explored about all these kinds of things. But the fact of the matter is, dude, electrical vehicles, it ain't Prius town anymore. I got a fucking Ford F-150.
You can have like a full-size Rivian. Have you seen the Rivian, like big SUV
I think they
things?
look stupid.
I think they look stupid too, but
stupid. But yeah, you can have that if that's your style. My Ford has a 131 kilowatt battery. My Tesla had less than that. The fucking Chevy has a 200 kilowatt battery. 200 kilowatt hours? I don't even know what it is.
I think it's kilowatt hours.
It's fucking nuts. That thing, I'm envious. It has like a 490 mile range or something like that. It's like,
that's the biggest thing, yeah.
And nowadays, like with this advances, people are like, oh, it takes forever to charge. Yeah, my Tesla that I got a while ago, 7 years ago, that I hated, took forever to charge. Nowadays, they put 320 kilowatts out of those fucking chargers. That bad boy can charge from 0 to 80 in 15 minutes. And I know it's like, yeah, technically filling up your car at a gas station takes 2 or 3, whatever. It's still, if you're not waiting in line, which you are still with an electric.
Well, especially with the people that line up at Costco. Jesus Christ.
Tell me about the Buc-ee's in line. Anyway, it's just better. And the more we adopt it, the better. This is just the beginning of how good it gets. And it's already fucking awesome. Imagine if actually there was an infrastructure for everyone had electric vehicles.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Or even then, going beyond that to having better electric rail systems. I mean, that's the biggest thing is public transit. Like, Jesus Christ. Also, the idiots that are trying to show the fire map and say that that's the railway, you're a fucking idiot.
What rail's going straight through the mountains like this? Yeehaw!
Let's go on a launch. It's a roller coaster ride, baby.
Sure. Okay. Sure. Whatever you want to say, man. This is just the guy with a sign on the side of the street.
It's the conspiracy theorist being like, these are all set purposely.
It's there to train.
This is all to create this big public transit and fuck over the rich people.
Yeah, it's so. Keep that voice. I like that. It's so silly because the arguments fall flat when the technology is better. I don't even give a shit if you like a gas engine. Sure, go it. It'll be archaic because the technology of an electrical vehicle is better. It accelerates faster. It fucking goes faster.
There's a reason why Formula One isn't all hybrid cars.
Yeah, there is so many things to be said about the power of electricity. And it's just like internal combustion motors were made 100 plus years, 150 years ago now. It's old tech. And yeah, it's been optimized. The reason it's so good now is because it had 150 years of optimization. We're only at the beginning of the optimization of all this electric motor.
And imagine if we had started it earlier because there was potential for that.
Exactly. Yeah. Competition, capitalism itself, I hope squashes out things because I'm all aboard this. I love it. Can't talk. I love my truck. I fucking love my truck.
He's a truckster, everybody.
I fucking love my truck. God, I love my truck. God, I love my truck.
But yeah, we definitely need to make moves to do what we can to prepare ourselves for the new climates as it comes and try and reduce the change and the dramatic extreme weather we are experiencing because of global warming. And I don't care if you're a denier, you're just stupid.
And if you have an electric vehicle, everyone's like, oh, if you have solar panels, you need big batteries. I was like, your car is your battery. Plug it into your house. No one's even thinking about that because they can't even fathom the idea of plugging your fucking car into your house. I can do that with my truck.
Also, all the places that you have shaded parking that are all solar powered now, it's in Cincinnati by the Cincinnati Zoo, and I was fucking so happy about it.
It's one of the Cincinnati Zoo's solar is one of the largest public works solar installation in the world.
I went there for the Festival Lights. I got to see some of them. Gorgeous animals.
I didn't get back to Cincinnati this year. Anyway, I'll go back soon.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right. So, like we said, I don't want to plug the story again because I think it's more important to help the people affected by the fires. Those 3 charities I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and run through them again. It's the California Fire Foundation, HCAFirefoundation.org. That's HCAFirefoundation.org. Then you have the Los Angeles Regional Food Bank, lafoodbank.org, LAFOODBANK.org. And then the Los Angeles County Animal Care Foundation, lacountyanimal's.org, LACOUNTY, and ANIMALS.org. Those are 3 places you can donate. Vetted charities and do a lot of things. I believe even the Fire Foundation goes beyond just helping firefighters. It helps people affected, but I'd have to triple check that. Feel free to go ahead and vet them yourselves. In fact, I recommend it. Go to their websites, look through it, see if you like it, and then choose where to send some funds. And if you're in the area and can donate those supplies, whether it's clothing, food, diapers, toiletries, pet supplies, or even volunteering, or going out and helping trim trees. I mean, everyone in LA is in need of help in the sense of clearing roads, everybody in the sense of firefighting or road clearing and things like that could use the help. Just be safe about it, be courteous about it, and be there for your fellow men and women and non-binary.
That's true. Everything he said.
Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in an episode next week. We'll get into the actual athleticism of firefighters and get into it. But thank you guys, and go ahead and be there for your fellow people and fellow humans in the world. Bye.
Bye.